regard is that I see a lot of noise and a lot of challenges when it comes to application. My name is Ahmed Elnaggar.
This is Monday Legal.
This is the big topic when we talk about individual clients. Of course, when you bring the corporate world, corporate tax now, of course, is the big topic, right? How this has an impact, right? And again, it's like you have been longer here in the Emirates than me. And we have seen it with VAT. Maybe today, not everything is clear, right? But what advice do you give to clients? You should say, like, whatever you do, it needs to be reasonable. If you think today you're smarter than the UAE government, you're on the wrong track, right? You know how it is, you know? And this is a bit advice when you see, like, if in 3 years you can say, I took a decision based on A, B, C, D, and that's reasonable, that's okay, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. A few years back, limited liability companies with 2-3 shareholders never had an audited report for 10 years. Yeah. They just distribute profits among them. There was shareholder withdrawals from the company for personal reasons, and together they sit down and settle it. And that's why there were a lot of cases happening in court and with complexity.
But that's what I say. It's like, you know, corporate tax.
Yeah,
I always say you have basically two sides of the coin. One is, of course, you bring in revenue for the government. And the other side is the government, for the first time, knows what all those companies in the UAE are actually doing.
Yes.
It's a compliance, you know, because you need to file what you actually do with your company, you know. If you have a fish trading license in Dera, then you better do fish trading, you know. And I think all this together, it's the whole combo which we started talking about, right? This brings the UAE to the next level. Compliance point of view, how the international community is looking at the UAE. Of course, it's that you have a certain tax level from a fiscal point of view, but it brings clarity and a certain compliance into the system. Because as you said, if you're in DMCC, you always have to submit an audit report. But the mainland company next door
still
should, but you know.
Yeah, in the law they should, but there's no obligation to actually file returns, and that's
then you see it's like if you're in Ajman or in Fujairah, it's different than if you're in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, right?
Yeah, but you're a certified compliance officer with the FSRA and with the DFSA. What is the major change that you have seen in the practice, not in DIFC companies, because I understand this is as a financial center. Most of the companies registered there are very compliant, or at least they have to, because they can't escape.
No, I always make one example. Bank Mirabaud, Swiss bank, got recently fined $3.5 million, right?
Yeah.
And that was not because they had a breach. But the regulator said the processes, the manuals we have in place are not sufficient. You know, so they did not onboard a crook or whatever, you know, because that's clear. But they said whatever you have in place is not sufficient.
Yes.
And I think this is the push which is done here. You know, I'm sure you had audits yourself, you know, and they want to see that you do the proper way. And what is the proper way? You do a proper KYC, a CDD, so customer due diligence, right? The starting point is a board resolution of your company where you say, what is the risk we see and what we do, right? And then basically on the customer due diligence, you measure them in accordance with your risk. No, if you say like, all the Germans are high risk because I don't want to have an issue with the German tax authorities, it's your business decision, right?
It's a business risk assessment process that you have to do and you have to keep and you have to record.
What you now see is like more and more the regulator or the authorities, they want to see that you do your job, right? They want to see how do you run your company. So it's not just you can do whatever you want. They want to see that you know what's going on in your company, right? And this is again, it all falls back. We become compliant. And I always say, like, this is the new normal. This is the new world standard.
Yeah. I've seen last year, and actually still ongoing, Ministry of Economy have been fining a lot of DNFBPs, whether they are real estate brokers or gold traders or whatever. Again, not because they did something wrong or not or let's say, not because they catch
exactly
a money laundry or a certain transaction. It's just because are you really having your
the process and procedures in place
in order? Do you have the documents right?
Exactly.
I know companies who have CSP licenses, for example, and they're not doing any CSP. I know a lot of people who have diamond and gold trading activity, but they're not doing any of that, or the company have been just not in business for the last 2 years.
But I say this also, of course, is connected to basically the old visa regime, right? Either you're employed or you have a company, right? So as in the old days, you have a lot of people put the company in place to have the visa. And of course, now with the option of all the visas, real estate investor visa, investment visa,
retirement, golden visa,
all those things, of course. And now with corporate tax, anyway, non-operational company is an issue.
Yes.
Yes. Because questions will come, and rightfully, So I say it's all connected. We have seen it. It started with ESR regulation, right? Where we're done with the letterbox company sending invoices out, because now we need to show easy who, from where, does which job.
Yeah.
It's relatively easy, It makes sense. Why should we send out an invoice for some consultancy, management consultancy? It's the typical example. It's everything and nothing.
Yes.
You know how it is, right?
Yeah. Even the description in the book, what is management consultancy? When I read it, I try to understand what does it exactly mean.
Historically, that was one of the few activities you could have, right? So I say I see now a bit is it's the cleanup now. Right? So it's as a jurisdiction, as a single company, now it's time to get your books in order to keep it as simple as possible, right?
Yeah. You have a lot of European clients, right?
Yeah.
What is or I don't know if you'd remember now or not, I am asking you on the spot, but what is the most misconception about the UAE in the way they come to do business? Because, for example, in my case, I have a lot of clients from Egypt, and when they come to me and say, I would like to do a general trading company, and I would like to give legal consultancy, and I would like to have a showroom for cars, and I would like all of this to happen in one license, and I don't need an office or a location for now. I just want
as cheap as possible solution.
Exactly. No office, no location. I just want the company for now. That's one of the very major misconceptions that comes because in other jurisdictions, it's possible to put your home address as the address for the company, and mixing different type of activities.
I fully agree, because in Switzerland, for example, if you establish a company, you don't choose your activity out of a given list, right? You basically define the purpose of the company yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So you can say, I want to do shoe trading, and I want to be able to own property in the country and abroad, and I don't know what. Of course, not the regulated one, but nonetheless, And then here it's as it's we have 45 different free zones, 7 Emirates, right? They all have their own activity list, right? So it's you maybe cannot sit in the FC because you want to have the nice office and do trading, which is not possible, right? So it's kind of here you can really have tailor-made solutions, but the difference between here and other jurisdictions is not one set of rules, right? And then, as you said, it's I would say the clients coming today, and they have a bit of knowledge about the UAE, they know it's not the Wild West anymore.
Yeah.
Because if a client comes to you and you say, for KYC purposes, I want to have passport, a utility bill, a bank reference letter, and I want to see your 6 months bank statement from your private account because you want to open an investment company, so I want to see you have the funds for the investment company, there's no backlash.